And last but not least, let's talk about Echo, Echo, Echo. And I promise as the last time I'll make that joke, right? Haha. Right. So this is not just the first MCU TV series or MCU anything that we've gotten so far in 2024, right? Because that's not that because What If season 2 doesn't count because that came out during Christmas of last year, right? So this is literally the first film to come out of Marvel Studios, right? But yeah, not just that too, but this is also the first show, I should say, not series, but first show to come out of the newly established Marvel Spotlight imprint, right? So basically,
Right.
this is the more mature version of what we've been seeing so far on Disney Plus, right? So in a way, and I'll bring this up in my critique of this, right? This is kind of going back to the Netflix MCU, sorry, not MCU, well, Netflix Marvel era, right? Where it's
Yep.
basically TV Emmy rated shows, but it's within the same world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's more grounded in reality, more grim, more violent, that's what they're going for with this new Marvel Spotlight thingy, right? But yeah, this is the beginning of it. It centers on the character of Maya Lopez, aka Echo, who was introduced in the delightful Hawkeye miniseries from 2021 or no 2021 actually 2021, right? Or was it 2022? I can't remember. I think it's 2022 if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
yeah, late. It's
Okay,
Christmas.
came out the
So it
same
was.
time, around the same time when Matrix Resurrections came
Yeah.
out, which was
No, yeah, late,
2022.
late 2022, I think.
Yeah, right, right,
Christmas.
right. So yeah, the 2022, right? It for me, it introduced me to Alakwa Cox. Yeah,
Yeah.
who was probably one of the most memorable aspects of the show. Way more than say what's the name boy who played oh gosh who
Haley
played
Steinfeld.
who stood out way more than Haley Steinfeld, in my opinion, right? I mean, no disrespect, right? But she did, right? Just mainly because she looked and she pretty much is the character, right? One, she's Native American. Two, she's an amputee. And three, she is deaf, right? So she nailed
Right.
all that, right? And then also she just has that stone, cold stare and look and just scowl that she does it here. Like, when you look at her, right? I mean, not saying that she always looks like that, right? I mean, she's a mom now, for God's sake, right? But yeah, when you look at Alaquado, she looks like the type of person that you do not want to mess around with at all,
Okay,
right?
so you did mention she have a child because it really looked like she was looking a little bigger in some of the reshoots.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of Mako. She seen on IG, and
Okay,
she just
no
say,
problem.
"Yeah, I'm a mom now." She pop up a
All
post
right.
like,
So
"Good for you." Congrats.
right.
Like real talk, like congrats, right? Yeah. So she just has that look down, right? And for me, well, all right, I would say with the character development that we got in Hawkeye, right? It's pretty much understandable why, right? Had a rough upbringing. Her father died at the hands of Ronin of all people. You know what I mean? That's Hawkeye's persona that he had adopted after the events of the Infinity War, right? Um,
Right.
and then, well, I think I legit forget if this was in Hawkeye itself, but there's a moment where Hawkeye kind of confronts you and say, "You don't really know the real story, and your dad was working for Kingpin, so it's kind of Kingpin's
Right.
fault, and you have that rage inside of you, and you should hone it, blah blah blah." I was trying to remember if that was from Hawkeye, but I believe it was, or maybe
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
yeah,
that was in
okay,
Hawkeye. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Um,
She had a little bit of an arc in that. For what it was now. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is about it. Yeah.
And yeah, well, just well, I mean, if unless you haven't seen Hawkeye itself, right? Yeah, pretty much ends with Echo confronting Kingpin after he went through his drama with Hawkeye getting his ass washed and whatnot. And yeah, she shot him, boom, and we were all like there, like wondering, is Kingpin dead? And
Right.
like even in the back of my mind, I was like, nah, they can't kill he off. Like it's Kingpin, dog. Like it's
Yeah,
Kingpin, right?
that is one of the best Kingpin too. So,
Exactly. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah, he to me is the best, live action
yeah.
representation of the character. No disrespect to
Agreed.
Michael Clark Duncan, but nah, Vincent
No. Yeah.
is Kingpin in my opinion, right? But yeah, even
Yeah.
even back in 2022 when Hawkeye dropped out, I was like, nah, like Kingpin is dead, like, nah, right? And then I'll wrap things up, right? And then the first trailer for Echo dropped, much to our surprise, out of the blue. And the first thing that we saw was Kingpin beating the shit out of a dude. I'll talk about that scene in my review. But yeah, just off of that alone, we were all like, okay, this is where we go in Marvel Studios. Okay, so yeah, legit, I felt like, okay, this was going to be a return to form in terms of the Netflix stuff that we got, back then, right? Which ironically ended off so strongly with that last season of Daredevil, which to me still remains the best season of that show, because of what they did with Kingpin and how they introduced Bullseye into it. Like, I absolutely love that show, right? And love that season. And then they just say out the blue, yeah, we done, like we done with all this. Like, Daredevil done, Jessica Jones done, Luke Cage done, Punisher. Like, I don't even think did we get a second season of Punisher? I can't remember.
We did. Yeah, there was a second season.
Right, there was, yeah, but I don't think it stood out as much as the first one, to be honest. I think the first one really stood out more, right? But yeah, we were going to get that edgy, that not so much raw, but more edgier take on this, right? We were going to get the Hell's Kitchen version of the MCU, pretty much, right? With kicking started off with Echo. And I'll talk about whether they started off strong or not, right? But yeah, anyway, Ricardo, take it away. What was this 5-episode miniseries about? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Echo. She get on the wrong side because she tried to kill Kingpin. So what she do is she you basically show her come up, and then they kind of breeze through, with a quick montage, the events of Hawkeye, and then they just tell this story of her running from Kingpin, having to basically lay low in her hometown, her origin story of, well, how she get into the accident, how she lose she leg, the history she family, and then they have this undertone, well, a backstory which I felt did not need to be here, but whatever, I get it. Is goddamn the MCU. With some kind of linking psychic link to the distant past of her ancestry via all the women in her lineage, and apparently they have a shared thread of power throughout this thing. Again, they could have dropped this, in my humble opinion. But whatever. But yeah, that's it. It's just her having to go with Kingpin and solve this problem, and then basically having to reconcile with her family and history and just identity, and they do all of that, and is good stuff. Now, I'm not saying that they should drop the lineage stuff. That is good stuff. But the power stuff, yeah, drop that bullshit. Sorry, that was just too goofy and didn't work at all in my opinion.
I agree with you, man. In particular, the whole healing stuff. Like, what I say is like, ugh.
All I do is, because what would have been cool if what would have been cool is if it was just like a kind of memory thing, and the memory thing relevant to the narrative in some way, shape, or form to solve a problem, but not this superpowers. That none of that is work. I mean, is that the same character from
from What If? No, here's the thing.
It's a different tribe, right? Because she was
right.
Mohawk, and this one is I forget what the name of this tribe was.
Yeah, all right. Well, let me pull it up quickly, right? But she is Choctaw. And,
right. So it's not a Mohawk. It's not a different tribe.
Yeah, it's a different tribe. But there was I don't want to say a MacGuffin, right? But there's a particular the beginning itself, right? A particular image, right? It looks like a pool. I was watching that, I was asking myself, is this a version of the Fountain of Youth pool? That's what we'll call it from that episode. Right. I was wondering if it was that, but it's actually not. It would have been interesting if it was that. I would have loved it personally if they had connected her with that new chick that they created for What If season. That would have been great, right? So you hint at it without really stopping to tell you, yes, they are related because blah blah. No. But it would have been great if they were related somehow, or at least have similar powers or a similar origin or something like that. But no, it's something totally different. I felt that's kind of weird. That was a missed opportunity there, in my opinion. But yeah, go on.
Well, yeah. As I said, it's decent. Again, it's that. But then to be weird, it kind of works. Even though the side characters was a little weak, it works with the grandmother and the grandfather, and there's the friend and the side stuff. The family is great stuff, I find. The violence was halfway. It had some okay action. Wasn't great. Daredevil makes a nice little cameo. I enjoyed that. Even though that felt a little reshootish, like it felt like a reshoot, and I thought that choreography could have been better. But it was fine.
But it turns out that though, I just cut, but Tim can't feel I'll forget it, right? I do applaud that they at least try to do the long take. You know, if it's one thing
Yeah,
remember from Daredevil
yeah,
is like the episode with the long take. So
yeah,
I like that they pull it off. I mean, yes,
yeah. They do it.
you know where they cut, right? It's blatant. You know you'll do it when you see it. But I was like,
Yeah,
I like it all this. I like it all this. It could have gone a little bit longer, but they just stop it at a point before the fight even end, before the action sequence even ends. Like, no, keep it going. No, like
yeah.
anyhow, whatever.
Yeah, and none of this I was mad at or anything like that. I thought this was so solid business, as it is. What as I said, it just kind of gelled together a little better, and really felt that the stuff with the magic history stuff that they could have dropped that because I get what they're going for it with Native American and history and that kind of stuff. But again, if they could have utilized that better, that's all I see. Because like when they did the flashbacks and they did the old like I forget the name of the old like cowboy group and the girl and it's a girl who not supposed to do it and all of that stuff. They mix up all they not I don't feel too cheap with the identity politics or anything like that. It's women and Native American stuff, all of that coming together reasonably well. But I
Yeah.
felt execution wise it could have been better, and that's my main concern with a lot of that. And it wasn't bad. They could again, but it just didn't gel together as well as it could. But not bad. Like I was enjoying it, especially those first couple episodes. I was digging it for what it was trying to do and go for. As it is. Yeah. They need this. I wish it was better. Just wish it could have gel better. But that's about it.
Yeah. Well, before I get to my main criticism of this, right? I do agree with you. I wish that it gelled together very well, right? Because it has a strong team, right? What it's trying to set up with, it's basically channeling your ancestors, right? Which I know is
Right.
is a thing when it comes to Native American identity, right? Representation. I know it's that, right? I just wish that they could have done it in how to say a more plausible kind of way. Like I understand it's comic book magic, right? But still they could have established that a lot more, a lot better in my opinion. Instead of just conveniently the women who went through all these hardships or who had all this inner strength, that the lineage that passes down from the first Choctaw to okay, that's
Right.
kind of weird, but whatever, right? But thematically, I do like that. I do like that it's deeper than it's all about revenge and I'm going to try to kill Kingpin and all that kind of stuff. I'll talk about that in a bit, right? I do like that we fleshed out the character a lot more. I do like the idea of her returning home, and seeing her, family or whatnot. I felt they could have done more with her and her friend. What's her name? Body do
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that was a missed effort right there, because
Yeah. I thought they could have do more with them. Yeah.
yeah, because kind of no offense, I kind of like the actress. I kind of like Devry Jacobs. I kind of like she,
Right.
but it's like they could have done more with that though, because they have she there just to be a captive, Dread. Like I see, like there's two instances, Dread, where she's captured. What, like the second instance that's in the final episode, I kind of understand why, but still, like they could have given her more to do, right? And actually, fun fact, she actually voices Kahori, right? That's the Native American character from What
Right.
If. I was
Okay.
like,
Really,
hey,
I did
okay.
not know that.
I,
Okay.
I, I just I
Wow.
just like now found that out, right? And she's
Okay.
actually in this show that I've always been meaning to see, Reservation Dogs, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been meaning to see that, right? But just didn't get any time, but whatever, right? Um, and actually, she's a star of the damn show, right? So, hey, now I have a reason to check it out, right? But yeah, I felt they could have done more cause I like that, they set up earlier on that they were friends from way back when, right? But it's
Yeah.
like when Maya come back home, she just meet what she wants and say, what, I promise I'll call you back, right? And then afterwards, she get kidnapped, and
Yeah.
then afterwards, they do it again. It's
And then
like,
that
really?
was
Like, what?
that was a big emotional core in the beginning. So like, okay, they
Yes.
didn't do anything with that. So like, all right, okay, well, what are they doing?
Yeah, I also I kind of like what they do with the grandparents as well too. I didn't expect to
Right. I
see
thought they were great. Both
yes,
the stuff
um
with the grandmother, the father was great stuff. Like, yeah,
yes,
she
it
just constantly call
was.
them out for. She constantly call them out and yeah, they do violence. As I said, I felt they should have been a lot more grounded. That's all I felt about it. They could have leave out the power stuff, do some of the lineage stuff, make it a thing maybe, but don't make it too much of a thing. As it
Agreed.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, so I was like, what is it with the grandfather, with the grandparents? I didn't expect Graham Greene, like the OG
Yeah, he's great.
himself, to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
he's
dug
great
his
in it.
character of
Yeah.
Scully. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that he was really likable, right? I'm actually kind of iffy with the character of Biscuits. That's Maya's cousin.
Yeah,
like I felt
he
like
kind of
some
come
of
out
his
of
line
nowhere.
delivery was kind of stilted, and this
Well,
way he
he
is,
felt like come out of nowhere.
agreed, yeah, yeah.
Was he in the flashback as a kid? I don't remember.
No, I think they mentioned him. They mentioned
Right,
Biscuits in the early flashback in the beginning, but like when you
right,
see him, there's like, all right, well, they try to give him something to do, but it's like, all right. In other words, he's kind of there as comic relief, but like I felt like there was no comedy to him at all. But he have charm, so that hate of the actor is just they really could have given him more to do, at least better lines in my opinion, right? I actually do like the stuff with Maya's dad. Well, the who died and whatnot. And like just those bits of moments really work, right? Also, from an acting perspective, right, I really dug Alakwa Cox again, who plays Maya. Again, she just have that stone face look down. She just has it down, that skull. She have it down, right?
yeah,
But she gets some emotional moments here and there as well too. And it works with the character too. And of course, it's ESL that we use it here. So even when she's with the sign language stuff,
right.
you still get the emotion out of her, right? Um, of course, the sea sealer is Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, again, he is and always will be Kingpin to me, right? And
Yeah,
in this case, you buy into why he's so tried, why he tried to get Maya back there, because
right.
right, so because basically he kind of adopted her and then she left, years afterwards after being just this street assassin for him, right? And then, well, of course, what happened in the end of Hawkeye with her shooting him, right? And yeah, he come back now and they do, well, I like how they set up the thing with what happened with his eye to begin with, because yeah, he got shot in the eye, right? That was really cool, right? They do a really cool thing, Dre, where somebody could tell
Yeah,
me if it exists.
the
This
ASL technology. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, where she now could see like this
When
well
he talk.
VVR hands basically
Yeah, they do
do
this
the sign
VR
language.
connection thing.
Yeah.
Right. So he could see, he could understand what she's saying with the
r-
sign language immediately. That translates to him. And they didn't show it from his perspective, but they show it from her perspective. I thought
Yeah.
that was cool. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nice little MCU tech.
And,
Right.
and also a nice bit of sound design too, right? Very
Yeah.
subtle, right? Where you're hearing this computerized voice, speaking
Right.
in Kingpin's ear, right? When Maya, sorry, is doing
Right.
the
Right.
sign language. I thought that was really cool, right? I like that it
Yes.
wasn't prominent, it wasn't like all up in the mix, but you kind of hear it slightly in the background. That was really cool, right?
Right.
And just
Right.
there the dynamic work too, where it's just like, you know what, I'm a bad man, but look, I understand, I'm doing this for you. And he just still can't get over the fact that she just does not want to be around him because he's scum, right? He just can't get beyond, he just can't understand that. And I like that in his own warped way, you know what I mean? Yeah, why
Where
he
they go with
believes that.
that is good, eh? Where they go with that was good. Even though his magic power was nonsense. They
Yeah,
go with that in a
for me, I kind of on the fence of the magic stuff of it, but the reveal
right.
of it worked, right? I was trying to remember
Yeah.
because there was something similar that they show in the last season of Daredevil, right? I think it was either with Bullseye or with Kingpin himself. I think that same, without spoiling anything, that same setting that he is put into, I think that is a reference to the final season of Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think they
Right.
touch on the same aspect of his past. Yeah, they did touch on his past. Because yeah, a great deal of the last season of Daredevil was about him, right? About his past, right? As I mentioned, Daredevil, I didn't expect it, but I do like how he was brought, how he was, for lack of a better term, shoehorn into this too. Because yeah, admittedly, it kind of felt like, it would be really cool if we actually put him in this, So yeah, they kind of had to squeeze him in it. You know,
Yeah.
um, it felt a little forced in my opinion. Like the stuff with
It
Hawkeye,
felt
that
like a
makes
reshoot.
sense. Right,
It felt like a
like a reshoot, right? Yeah, the stuff with Hawkeye, him making the appearance when he did makes sense, right? But I felt with the Daredevil thing, it was just like, all right, well, Daredevil fought Kingpin, so he kind of might as well. And yes, it made for a really cool action scene again. That simulated long take, which works. But yeah, I do agree with you. It kind of felt like a reshoot. It felt like 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 a afterthought in a sense, right? Also, I really dug just the visuals of this, right? I really thought that it was very well shot and whatnot. Also, too, I like the musical choices in it as well too. There's some great needle drops. In particular, like some. All right, so I'm not sure if in particular if you're familiar with All right, so basically you have like these Native American groups, right, who make like EDM music, right? But they incorporate
Right.
their own music, their own style of music, right, into like these EDM beats, right? So you probably wouldn't know the name of the, you would probably wouldn't know the song itself or the artist, right? It's from a group called A Tribe Called Red, right? Their
Okay.
music is not
I heard about it. I
right.
think I heard about it.
So they have
Yeah.
a song, right? Apparently it's a protest song, right? But it's the song that they
Okay.
use if you look at the official trailer for Killers of the Flower Moon, right? That
Right.
song, by
Right.
the
Yeah.
way, I
Yeah.
forgot
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
of it
Right.
right
That's where.
now.
Right. That's where I know them
Yeah,
from.
I forgot
That's where I know them
I
from.
forgot the
Right.
name of the
Yeah.
song right now, but that song slaps so
Right.
hard, though. Like the bass in it, holy shit! And then when you get to the chanting, boy, chills, right? They have a song that's similar like that. I think it's called what is what I think it's called Biscuits and Cheese or Bread and Cheese. That's what the name of it, right? That's my one takeaway of this song because it sort of rivals what that Tribe Called Red song was, though, in terms of like the vibe of it, the energy. I really felt that, right? And yeah, as I mentioned, Killers of the Flower Moon, yeah, you see some parallels in it in terms of the
Right.
history and just holding on to culture and all that kind of stuff. So all that I really appreciate, right? Now to get to the main criticism I have for this, right? Bear with me, I'll take a while, but on this how I see it, right? I felt, right, with all this talk about TVME, rated TVME for language and violence,
They're
this
level.
was so tame,
I.
Dreader. Like
Yeah. Very mild.
unbelievably tame. Like now, here's the examples I'll
It's
give,
a.
right?
It's a
This,
mild spicy.
yeah, this
Not spicy
is
at all.
this easily should have been a TV PG. This is
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV PG. This is what the show is, right? So, and I should mention too, right? I should mention too. I am liking this direction where Marvel Studios is going in terms of representation of various cultures, right? So,
Yeah.
like
Well,
with
that's fine.
Moon Knight, it's Middle Eastern culture. Oh gosh, Miss Marvel, it's Pakistani culture. In this case, here is Native American culture. So I appreciate all that, right? So I don't want to think that because it's trying to represent a certain culture that we should not be a little edgy with the content, right? Because I mean, you have a show like Killers of the Flower Moon, which I mean was the most violent movie in the world, right? But it kind of earned its R rated, right? Because of what the
Yep.
content was about, right? And yes, you had occasional cussing and violence and whatnot, right? And actually, a few blink and you miss it scenes are graphic violence, like some genuinely graphic violence in that movie. Yeah? If you watch it over, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? But yeah, so I don't want to think that it has to do with okay, it's about representation, so we don't want to turn off people within that within that Native American nation, sorry, because of the the rated R quotes content, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to think it's like that, right? But again, think about it. Like, all right, so here's an example, right? Right, so let's take The Walking Dead for example, right? From EMC, right? When they say their shit is TV Emmy, right? That's
Yeah.
merely because of graphic violence, right? That's merely because you have a lot of blood and guts, right? And it's very gory, right? And it's zombie stuff, right? So, us who are kind of numb to this stuff by now, right? After the X amount of seasons that show's out for, right? You can kind of watch that and be like, yeah, I get why it rated like that, but it's not really that bad, But back
Right.
then, I mean, even up to now, I would admit, yes, it kind of deserves that rating, right? But compare their TVMA to like the shows you would see come out of like Showtime or Stars or
Right.
HBO, right? Where it's not just blood and guts, right? But they throw in nudity, they throw in language,
Disney just
throw in
pushed us
sex.
to say they could do it. Disney
Exactly.
just pushed it. Yeah.
That's
Just
what I
to
mean,
say
right?
they
So
barely justify. Usually when you just try to mark down your Emmy, no, they mark up the Emmy. Just to say
exactly,
that.
boy. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt right. So so that's a perfect example, right? So The Walking Dead's TVMA rating kind of pales in comparison to like what you see on like HBO or Showtime or whatever, right? Or Stars, right?
Right.
But it still earns it because of the content, because of how grim and graphic, yeah, I mean, it's like zombies and usually get their heads chopped off or whatnot by
Yeah.
by Miguel, I forget the name,
Michonne, yeah.
yeah, Michonne and whatnot, right? Or get stabbed and whatnot. Like there's gore in it. Like it deserves its rating, right? This one for me felt like I was watching Falcon and Winter Soldier all over again, right?
Yep.
So I'll touch
Yep.
on that kind of infamous Kingpin scene, right? So I don't want to say the context behind it, but in that case, Kingpin didn't need to do that. Shit. It was like I just watched this thing, bro. Like I understand you're offended, but bro, really? I felt like it was them
Well, that's the
trying
whole
to be
point of the
edgy.
character.
Like it
Yeah,
was
that's the whole point
trying.
of the character.
Yeah.
No, in the case of Kingpin, they could get away with that because he just do that shit all the time. So it's like whatever. I mean, fuck up a man with a door in his show.
Oh
They
yeah,
get
right.
remember that.
That's true. Yeah, he is
Yeah,
a
it's just
man who
stuff
just
like that.
he's get violent, like angry real quick, and yeah, he will beat a man to death because a man
Right.
piss him off, right, or say something bad, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's fine.
But still, that honestly is the most graphic thing you see that whole show, right? And I would
Yeah.
easily compare this, right, to that episode, that finale. Well, sorry, that final moment of that episode, that famous episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where you had that Captain America character. Is that the Captain America, but a new Captain America? Yeah, where he
Right.
take his shield and smash a man head in. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
see it. You saw it from a top view of him, like laying the blows down there, right? But yes, that was shocking. That was stunning, right? But it still fit within the TV PG rating, right? So like I don't even think you saw blood, maybe barely with it, right?
Oh, yeah, so blood on the shield. That
On the
feels
shield,
good.
that's it, right?
That's
But-
the iconic. That's the iconic shot.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, and it totally works, right? But still, the show is TV PG, right? Like, yes, the moment stun you, right? But it's not sickening, right? But in the case of like Echo, when you see that moment happen, right? And yes, you see the bloody knuckles and all that kind of stuff, right? And you see blood on the man's shirt and whatnot, right? I imagine some Disney exec will look at that and say, you know what, I think because of this one scene alone, we should make this TVMA, right? But then you have a
Yeah,
couple
that's-
other scenes like earlier on where you have some shootout and you see some blood splatter. There's a scene where a guy gets shot and, you see blood in the man's face, but on his chest, of course, because he got shot in the chest, right? So tell me because of those moments that gets a TVMA. So in other words, right, they either kind of work around those stuff and give it a TVPG rating, which I felt this show needed anyway, or they really could have just committed. They really should have pulled the trigger. Don't just tell me you have a gun and tell me, all right, for sure, folks, for sure, you're going to get some MA stuff. And then when time to pull the trigger, it's like, yeah, boy, you're Disney Plus, so yeah.
No,
Like,
they
no, man,
have-
come
they
on, man. Don't pull the trigger, no, man. Like, come on.
No, yeah, no. Disney in a precarious space because they're trying to harken back to some energy, right? Like admit it. Right? MCU in a rough spot right now. Like admit that, right? So they're really just trying to push. To me, they're really trying to push the conceit of, oh well, we gonna tap into, remember Netflix stuff. You really like that? Let's just tap into that energy. And yeah, it was feeling like a Netflix show at certain points, but like they didn't do nothing. And
Yeah.
it does feel like a reverse. It feel like a reverse marketing thing in that sense of they mark up the MA rating. It didn't need to be MA, and they try to justify it doing that MA. And instead of instead of editing and cutting stuff, they add stuff just to do that. And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Um,
Alright, so just couple. Then we wrap it, right? So like there's moments where I was telling myself, okay, well, all right, maybe the violence isn't gonna be the thing, maybe it's gonna be the cussing, right? The biggest curse I hear that show is shit. That's all I hear.
Yeah.
Like even
God is the galaxy out of food.
yes, and even like I think it probably like a season or two of Daredevil or Luke Cage, or in particular Jessica Jones. I would be surprised if a character say fuck, right? It's
I
like
do
that, right?
remember season 2 Punisher dropping the F bomb. I swear that was a little moment.
Yeah. Oh, probably, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So I don't know if
yeah.
the fears that they didn't want to, like, I'm not asking them to go Punisher season 1 level of violence, right? 'Cause, yeah, season 1 of Punisher was ridiculous with the violent content. It was ridiculous. And that earned a TVMA rating, in my opinion, right? That to me is probably the most violent piece of anything I got out of the Netflix shows, MC shows, in my opinion, right? That first season in particular, right? But yeah, like I thought at least they were going to commit it, right? And here's the thing, right? They could still hold on to its teams. They could still give me the whole Native American representation and, the whole
Right.
team of womanhood and, female empowerment. They could still give me the goods, But it's almost as if they felt like maybe those moments, like the moments of violence, or if we go that further, it would tarnish it or something. It's like, no, you could still tell your story, but don't just come and hype up to me and tell me TVMA, LV, and then you give her shit and you give her blood splatter on a man's face. Like, come on, man, like, pull the trigger there. You can't do it. It's established enough, you could do it. But I do agree with you, Ricardo. I guess if they had grounded more into reality, they would have had more of a reason to do so.
Exactly.
But still,
I still think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I still think it's a mistake of what, because I don't know what they're trying to go for. And well, the post credit scene is very strange of where they went with that. But
It is.
I don't know what
That's the spoiler thing. It's strange, and I was watching this. I'm like, this is so implausible. Like, like
Well,
how much of it how much of it am I really supposed to buy into? Like conveniently, think about it. Conveniently, I understand it's fiction, right? But conveniently,
listen,
this happened,
you,
and this is the
you know what?
decision that our this person is gonna make. Like this is really what we're gonna do, folks. Really?
Listen, to me, I know what you know. What year coming up? This year
Yeah.
coming up.
Uh huh.
That's
Uh huh.
why.
Yeah.
That is why.
Yeah.
That is exactly why that's going to happen. However,
It was a huge stretch for me. I'm sorry. It was just so convenient. Like, oh, like really that what we doing? But whatever, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So that's a wrap things up, right? So for me, I felt like just the overall experience of me watching this though, was I just felt personally it was a letdown because of that misleading rating. That's the best way I could sum it. It's very
yeah,
misleading because,
yeah,
sorry to say this, a lot of people who probably sort of tuned out of Disney Plus or Marvel Studios' content, right? You know, who probably find us a little too diluted or watered down or pandering or whatnot, you know, probably would have tuned into Echo because, oh, you're actually gonna give us a little bit more edgy, a little bit some more ambitious and bold, but it just kind of came off as just the same old stuff, right? Like again,
yep,
I applaud the representation of another culture. I appreciate that, and I want to see them do more of it. Apparently, just to wrap things up, apparently the next show in the Marvel Spotlight thing is going to be Wonder Man. And
okay,
you know who they get to play about this sort of Wikipedia. They actually gave we boy Yaya Martin from
right,
yeah
yeah, I know,
from
yeah.
Aquaman to play. I was like, all right, I don't know anything about Wonder Man, but okay, I'm curious
Yeah,
to see how they play it. Okay,
I have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to do. That's
I don't
whatever.
know. I don't know either, right? I don't know if it's whatever. I don't know, right? But yeah, point is, right? Yeah. So I actually like what they're doing thematically, right? And emotionally, I like all this stuff, right? I like how they explore the character of Maya, right? And you know why she's called Echo, right? It's kind of on the nose, but I kind of like why she's
Right,
called Echo, right? It's cool, right? And see where her character ends up is pretty interesting as well, too, right? I felt they could have done a little bit more with Kingpin. It just more came off like, okay, well, all right, let's just say I felt we could have got more in terms of the dynamic between the two of them because Echo just kind of came off like, all right, I just need to stop Kingpin. I need to stop everything that Kingpin is doing. So even if I don't get at Kingpin, I have to stop something that Kingpin is doing. I'm like, all right, why don't just go for Kingpin? And you kind of get that moment, but then it's like, all right, now I have to go back after him again. It's like, you know, it's like you want to bring the two of them together, but like the show itself wasn't sure of how to pull it off. That's how I could
right.
say it, right? But it was great see the two of them kind of confront each other again. But of course, you know, Vincent will always be Kingpin in my opinion, right? Side characters are fine as well too. Even though I felt they could have done more with Biscuits, he just kind of came off as like a comic relief that wasn't even funny to me at all. But just overall, I just felt like we could have got more out of this, right? And there was it's just like the right opportunity to do so, right? Where yeah, they could have elevated the well, I should say the formula, the Marvel Studios formula of introducing us to new characters or characters that we've seen before. They really could have stepped things up a lot more with this first show right here, right? But
Yeah,
instead, it just sort of felt like they just were fearful of how people would take it if they were more violent or whatnot. So they had to kind of dial it back way more than expected. But come on, imagine, like don't start each episode telling them viewer discretion is advised and our watchers like, wait, where's the viewer discretion? Where it is?
yeah,
Where it is? You know, I don't know. Yeah, so for me, this was kind of a letdown for me, but to be fair, it was no waste of my time. I think
right.
the good thing about it though is that they release all the episodes out. I think maybe in retrospect, maybe they kind of did this on purpose because it's like because if they put this out on a weekly basis, I don't know if people would have been talking about it. I think people probably would have slept on it or probably waited till all 5 episodes were done and then watch it, right? But I think it kind of makes sense for them to put them out as like just a full season one time. Because again, I don't think people would have cared to watch it on a weekly basis, right? But it wasn't a waste of time for me to watch it, to binge it, right? I mean, it was fine for what it is, right? But I do hope that with the other TV shows in this Marvel spotlighting, they really kind of step things up there. They actually be a lot braver and actually give us edgier content. I'm not saying be edge lordy with the content, but at least again,
But if,
like
you're saying
don't tell me.
TVMA,
you know,
If they say TVMA, do the TVMA.
exactly, exactly. It's like this. I'll wrap this up, right? It's like Max, right? It's like the what, which is the Marvel Comics imprint, right? Max, right? Where yes, it's a lot more violent than that your average Marvel Comics comic book, right? And the characters that they pick for those comics make a lot of sense. Like case in point, Punisher, right? Yeah, you could go violent with that, right? But Echo, like, because I don't really know anything about her, I don't know about her in the comics. I don't think she was part of that imprint at all. I don't think she was part of Max, right? So it's almost like we want to kind of make it like Max, but we don't know how. So we'll just kind of sell that we're going to be violent, but not really that violent. It's just kind of poor planning to begin with, right? And then in the end, you just kind of get this misleading rating that I imagine a lot of people will tune in to see how big of a deal it is, and then you come out of it like, no, it wasn't really that big of a deal at all. And that to me was the main drawback of this, right? But it's overall it's fine, but could have been better for me. So rating wise, very very light 3 out of 5. It's alright for what it is, but kind of a slow start to the MCU output this year. Here's hoping that things pick back up with the other shows that we'll get, and not just talk about TV shows, but movies as well too. Um, but I mean, it's okay. It doesn't really change things for me, or I should say, it doesn't change things as far as the MCU timeline goes. I guess I don't know. But I mean, it's not like Secret Invasion, man. At least I could say that much, right? But this still could have been better. This still could have been better for what it was and how it was marketed, right? That's the best way I could sum it up. But yeah, Ricardo, your final thoughts and rating.
No, as I said, I wish it was. All I'll say is I wish it was just more. They could have just go more grounded with it, in my humble opinion. I felt they should have done that. That's why this doesn't work all that well to me. I don't hate it, but they should have. They did do a lot of zigs where they should have zagged, and vice versa. In terms of the material, and I should say, yeah, they should have played grounded like what Hawkeye was. Like Hawkeye was grounded. Play it like that. Do that. But yeah, as it is, I couldn't get into this overall. But it's not bad or trash or anything like that. It's just they could have do a make smarter calls with it overall.
Yeah.
As it is.
I like that you say Hawkeye and not Daredevil. I think that I don't know if you meant to say Daredevil, but I like that you say
No
Hawkeye,
Hawkeye.
right?
Yeah, no
Because
Hawkeye.
even though
Yeah,
Hawkeye had its Christmas setting, yeah,
yeah,
I'm not saying that show was edgy. It kind of wasn't, right? But it delivered the goods, and it, as I say, grounded reality, right? So when you get those violent moments, they hit a lot more, right? But yeah, with this, because you wanna make it grounded, but you also wanna add the fantastical stuff, it just kind of came off a little too uneven. But yeah,
yeah.
wrap
That's
things
the
up.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the main concern I had with it. It was just too arbitrary, too uneven for me, in my humble opinion. I really felt they should have done. Uh, yeah, they just do a better job with that conceit as it is. But yeah, overall, I couldn't get myself to hate this or anything like that. It's fine. It's just fine. You know, rating 5 out of 10, closer to a 6. Than a 5, but in the fives. That's about it.
Yeah, and last thing last though, that being said though, I do hope that we see more of Maya Lopez, right, or at least more
Right.
of Alakwa Cox, though, because yeah, she
No, she's
is
good.
she is
Yeah.
yeah she is Echo, right? Not saying that she will be replaced. I don't think that'll be possible, to be
No, no,
honest,
no.
right?
That's not that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she is a very memorable character, man. I would love to see her in more shows, right? I don't know what. I don't know if it's going to be TV or film like how we had Kamala Khan in the Marvels. I don't know. Maybe we'll get that answer later on this year. I don't know. Maybe we might
Yeah. I
see
have
more
no
of
clue what they like.
yeah, I don't even know either because they didn't really announce anything, right? And also as well to just to wrap things up, I don't even know if you'll see more of Kahori, right? Because yeah, she stood out in What If season 2, right? So who knows? Maybe they might have the two of them together in a film, right? I don't know, but I don't know. I guess we'll see, right? So yeah, I hope that's not the last that we see of the character of Echo. But as far as this Marvel spotlighting goes, y'all have the gun in all your hands. Pull the trigger now. Like don't be afraid
Yeah.
to do it. I mean, come on, right? Like at this stage,
Yeah, exactly.
at this stage in all your lineup, y'all could do it. Like Netflix proved this. I mean, just do it again, right?
I,
But
I,
you
I
know,
I don't know. As I say, I don't know what they want to do because I get a feeling, I suspect that they want to try it and somebody will push it, and there's a whole. Listen, you could get. I'm sure it have a whole weird scuttlebutt behind the scenes, and I pull mutter somewhere lurking in the background somewhere. I'm sure that. and that's why they want to push this stuff. But like you get a feeling that they don't want to at all. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you know what it's like,
We'll find it out.
yeah, you know what it's like though. It's like they want to do Daredevil, but they don't want to do
Yeah,
Punisher. That's
right.
what it is. They want to be grounded and edgy as Daredevil was, but they don't want to be as ridiculously violent as Punisher was. Where I feel that's the
Yeah,
problem, right? But it's kind of under the whole Netflix umbrella or banner, whatever it is, right? So they kind of want to do the Netflix thing again, but they kind of don't want to do it at the same time, man. But yeah, it's that kind of indecisiveness that kind of resulted in Echo not being as good as it could have been, or not being as great, sorry, as it could have been, man, unfortunately. So here's hoping that later on this year, or like going into this year, just sort of figure out this shit out and kind of give us the content that people will be spending their money and subscribing to Disney Plus again, for, right? And instead of just kind of half-assing it, right? So that's basically it.